Hi everyone. Today we are going to see how to document a BRD as a BA. So this is the very first page. So on the very first page, you're going to say that who's the author for this document and what's the date. Okay, so when are you documenting it and what's the version. So if you're starting from scratch, it will be version 1. And what's the status, whether it's been approved by the business owners or not. So if it's approved, it will be here as approved. Okay, so the next page is table of contents. So in the table of contents, we are going to tell about what's the version history, what's the stakeholder's name and all that. So this table of contents, when the business owners see this table of contents, right, they'll get an idea. So for example, where is the process flow diagram? It's on page 7. Where are the business requirements? It's on page 8. Where are the non-functional requirements? It is on page 9. So this will be very easy for someone to just go to that page and then see if they want to review it, right? They can just go, suppose in case if they want to review only the business requirements, they can just go to page 8 and review that. So this will be very helpful. So that is table of contents. So next we'll go to the next session. So this will be a first section. This is called document control. So in document control, first we will see about version history. So as I said, if we're going to start from scratch, okay, so it will be version 1. And what is the date that was issued? Who did that? So if you're creating that, it will be your name. And then it will be version 2 and version 3. So it keeps, okay. So if it's a brand new project, then you'll not see a lot of versions. But if suppose the project is there for a very long time, then you're going to see a lot of versions and you'll be seeing like who changed that and what's the reason for those changes and all that. Okay. So it's very important to have version history so that we will know like how long this document has been maintained for that particular project. So the next one is stakeholders list. Yeah, so when we say stakeholders list, we are not going to put like everybody's name here. So we are going to put the individual who's going to give us the sign off. So for example, there'll be like 1 or 2 or 3 people, right, who will be responsible for giving the sign off for this project. So you're going to put their names and what is the business area and for what is the inclusion, whether they are business owners or directors or managers, whatever it is, their name. So why are you including, why they are so important? This and all is like not mandatory, but the name and what is the designation and the date, right? All that is mandatory. So this is not like a standard like a format you have to use. You can just put name and business area and their email address and then when did they sign up. So this one you can customize according to your own project needs, but we have to list all the stakeholders names. That's very, very important. Next one is additional distribution list. So for example, you want to add all your developers name and who worked on this project, who's the point of contact. So suppose there are like 2 to 3 different teams that we are working on for this project. You're going to list that main like key people or the point of contact for each team and their email addresses as well. So why are we putting this list? Because we like, suppose you are creating this document and then tomorrow you get another job and go to a different company and a new BA comes to your position, right? When they open, they should know like for this project who was the point of contact, okay? Because just by seeing this BRD, they should be able to understand, okay, these are the key people who worked in this project. That's why we are adding all their names and email addresses. And then next is abbreviations. So next is abbreviations or terminology. So a BRD would have a lot of technical terminologies or abbreviations. You're going to list everything here. So that's very important. And next is what is the purpose of this document. So we all know that BRD is for all the, we are just documenting all the high level functional requirements and the BRD exists because we have to see like we are just writing, so everything like all the requirements are written and then we are getting a sign off. It's a seeing that BRD, the business user or business owner is like, okay, whatever my request was, now these people, they understand and they're documenting it and they're asking me a sign off. So that's the purpose of this document, right? So to make sure whatever high level functional requirements that the customer is expecting, we were able to document that in appropriate way, or we will test that in a proper way, and we will make sure that this project will be a success. So that's the purpose of this document. So tomorrow if something goes wrong, or sometimes if like there was a particular requirement that the business expected and we were not able to deliver that, okay, that particular requirement, usually what we will do is we'll come back to the BRD and we'll see whether it is documented here. If it is not documented here, we can ask the business owner, right? Like, see, it's not documented in the BRD and you have given us the sign off. So it means that you have reviewed this document and you're provided the sign off. So that means that they will take ownership. Suppose the requirement is documented here and then it's not being developed, and the final, like during UAT, user acceptance testing, if you find that particular requirement was not fulfilled by our team, okay, IT team or developers, then we have to take responsibility because it's already documented in the BRD and the developers, they forgot to develop that feature. So based upon this document, we'll decide like who takes the ownership for anything, like any kind of issues which comes in later stage, right? Who needs to take ownership, whether it's the developers or IT team, or it is the business owners or the end users. So I mean, so this is like a legal document, okay? So this is very important. So you make sure that this document is well written. So the next one is like introduction. So you're going to give a little bit of the background of this project. What is this project? What's the data flow? What is the expectation? Like, for example, if it's going to be a software project, then you're going to put like, what is that software? If it's going to be a billing software or any kind of software, what is the purpose of that particular software? What are we going to do with that? And what is the objective of this project? So who's going to overall, like, because of this project, what is going to happen? Okay, so all that you have to write in detail here. And also you can also, if you know the business rules, if the and I'll make a separate video like what is business rule and how to write business rules, but if you already know that, you can document it here. And very important is what is scope and out of scope. So this is one of the basic interview questions they're going to ask you, whether you know to document in scope or out of scope. So in scope in the sense, like for example, if you are building a particular, for example, you say you're building a billing software, okay, billing software for a restaurant. Okay, so what is the area of functionality? So when someone like puts an order, okay, and what should happen is you should be able to process that order and they should be able to pay through credit card. So that is the functionality, okay, that's the overall that software has to do, okay, that's in scope. So what is out of scope? Out of scope can be that it will be processing only through credit card, not, for example, in credit card there are like different types of credit card, right? Like Visa, like different types are there. So you can put like, suppose the business is like, no, we can't use a particular type of credit card, then in that case that you can put it like this billing software will not cover that name of that credit card, right? So if it doesn't cover Visa, then you put like this project does not cover Visa. So that's how you have to make sure what is in scope for this project and what is out of scope. So, okay, so it depends upon that what project you're doing. And then I'll give you another example. Suppose you're automating some you're automating like a scanning software, okay? So what you do is like you scan some documents and you should be able to convert it into a PDF format, okay? That's the functionality for the scanning software. So what is in scope? In scope is it will be converting to a particular doc type. For example, PDF, yes, PDF. Suppose if that particular software cannot convert that into a different doc type, okay, then all those will be out of scope. So you have to put it like in scope is only PDF, out of scope is other than PDF, any kind of doc type will be out of scope. Okay, that is in scope and out of scope. Next is process flow diagrams. So when we say process flow diagrams, this is a sample diagram. So you have to make sure like currently for that particular software, whatever you're going to do, you need to, for that particular project, what's the data flow? Where is the data starting and where it is ending? You can create this diagram through Giphy diagrams to MS Visio. There are different kinds of tools to create the diagram. So you can create the diagram in those tools and then you can paste it here. I'll create a separate video on how to draw these diagrams. For now, remember that you need to add a diagram here. That's called process flow diagram. And the next very important is business requirements. So you need to write like detailedly like what are the business requirements, number 1 to 10. So what's the priority, whether it's high priority, medium or low, and who raised that requirement. So you're going to list all the requirements here. Next is non-functional. So non-functional, that it's an important interview question. What's the difference between functional requirements and non-functional requirements? Non-functional in the sense something related to performance, security, infrastructure, volume, all that is non-functional. So when we say functional means something your developer can develop and you can test that feature. Okay, that is functional. Non-functional in the sense, for example, the performance and all usually like we don't do, there will be a different team to do that. Example, volume testing and all that, right? It will be not be included as functional requirements. So functional means, for example, you creating a software, what did software feature, like what are the features for that software and what that software needs to do, that will be functional requirements. Whereas if it's non-functional means the performance of that software, security features, and how much volume it can handle, all that will be non-functional. I'll create a separate video for functional versus non-functional. Like in detail, I can give you more examples. But right now in the BRD, you need to document what are business requirements and what are non-functional requirements. Okay. And then, so these are like very important lists that you have to document in the BRD. A BRD should definitely contain a document control like version history, stakeholders names, and who's going to provide the sign off, and also like in scope, out of scope. Definitely there should be a diagram, and then what are business requirements, what are functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and then like after that whatever is essential for your particular project. So all this glossary, terminologies, all that you can add. Also you can add like examples. So like suppose if you're sending an XML, how that XML should look. Okay, and so suppose if you're having a mapping document, how that mapping document should be. So all that you can attach it in the BRD. I think you got a little bit idea of how to document a BRD.